Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dylan Hildreth of Hildreth Media, and we are going to be talking about the big college football games for week 3. Let's not waste too much time. Like, subscribe, all that. Let's dive into it. So, the first game on the docket, 3:30 on ABC. The Georgia Bulldogs, my beloved dogs, and the Tennessee Volunteers in Neyland Stadium. This game, as a Dogs fan, I am very, very nervous about. You can say up and down. Oh yeah, we've seen Georgia come out and be flat one week and then come back and just absolute dominate a top 25 opponent the next week. We can go through that cycle over and over and over again, but we're really getting into that stage with the transfer portal, the NIL, where you don't have the depth to be playing that game. Obviously, no matter who loses this game, they're not out of the running by any stretch of the imagination. But they do use that proverbial safety net. Joey Aguilar, the Tennessee quarterback, who has been a for Vols fans a delightful upgrade from Nico 1 year ago thus far. He's dazzled. He's been razzling, dazzling, doing a very, very good job. Now, Gunner Gunner Stockton on the dog side, he has he has done okay. A little bit better on the ground than what we were expecting. Uh, here, so for this season so far, he's got a passer rating of 140, 2 touchdowns, 7.2 yards pass. Hasn't taken a sack yet. But again, they haven't played anybody with a 69% completion percentage. Nice. So 417 yards in 2 games. One being against Marshall, the other being against Austin Peay. That that is a concern. Tennessee's defense is a lot better than Austin Peay's and Marshall's. Aguilar has the passing advantage. Um, the running back Star Thomas, he's been better. He's been better than anybody in the rushing game for Georgia. Frazier, he fumbled the ball last week. That's it. It's concerning, and everybody's saying that the trenches is in the advantage of Georgia, and I'm not exactly uh I'm not exactly convinced of that. I think the trenches for Georgia has been overhyped. The pass rush has not been there the last number of years. The running game has not been there the last number of years. Um, but Georgia, they win a lot, and they nobody wants to point that out because Georgia is winning. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to run the ball in order to win. And your best rusher has 116 yards on the season, and you haven't played anybody. You haven't played anybody. That is a major, major problem. I mean, take a look at the team stats last week. Against Austin Peay, you got 190 yards, and you fumbled the ball twice. I mean, it's simple fundamental football that they're just not able to grasp. And now we're playing somebody, and it does not get easier. At Neyland, Alabama, Kentucky, they can be a problem. At Auburn, that's going to be a problem. Ole Miss absolutely destroyed Georgia last year. Um, you got Florida and Mississippi State, but and then you have Texas, who the book is still out on them, Charlotte, and then Georgia Tech. It doesn't get easier from here, other than that 2-game stretch of Florida and Mississippi State. So, well, I guess it'd be a 3-game stretch with Charlotte, but I mean it doesn't get easier. And then Tennessee, they've got UAB, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and then they got Alabama at Kentucky, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Florida. So Tennessee can afford to lose this game a lot more than what Georgia can, but it's in Neyland. Tennessee fans are fired up. There is hope at the University of Tennessee. And in order for the current spread's 3.5. I read that wrong. It opened at 6.5, and it's fallen to 3.5. So the betting odds, they're like in Tennessee. So if I'm gonna be forced to pick, I'm gonna take Tennessee in an upset here. It's on the road. Georgia, they have Alabama on the horizon in a couple weeks. It's your marquee trap game. Georgia's beaten Tennessee often the last number of years. And this may very well be the year that Tennessee finally gets that particular monkey off their back. So, and then the next game that I want to focus on is Clemson at Georgia Tech. This is a massive problem for the Clemson Tigers. You're in Atlanta. You haven't looked good for 2 weeks. You struggled mightily against Troy. You got beat by LSU at home. And now you are going on the road to a good coach in Brent Key and a hold on. I'm assuming Haynes King is a starter. I'm just kind of thrown off a little bit here. Hold on. Because it's okay. Yeah, it's Haynes King, as I thought. I just got thrown off by the stats. I was like, wait a minute. Who's this guy? But yeah, Georgia Tech, they have looked good. Uh they beat Colorado and then they had Gardner Webb. But now this is Georgia Tech's uh Super Bowl part 1. Obviously, it's Clemson and Georgia or their Super Bowl. So, and I believe they're all relatively healthy. Georgia Tech, very good on the fundamentals. Brent Key is a very underrated coach. And after this weekend, you may very well learn his name. Georgia Tech, 3.5-point favorite, or 3.5-point underdog at home. I'm going to take Georgia Tech in an upset. Clemson, they don't have much the rest of the way. They do have Florida later in the year, but I mean, this this may be the final safety net for Clemson should they lose, because then you have to run the table. Syracuse should be an easy win. At North Carolina should be an easy win. Boston College, they're no joke. SMU, they are very good. Duke, who knows what's going to happen with them? Florida State at Louisville, Furman, and then South Carolina at South Carolina. So Clemson, they're in trouble. They need to win this game. There is no other option. And this one and this squad that we once saw as a championship team could be struggling to even make the dance. So we'll just have to wait and see. And then we're spend a little bit of time on this. We got Wisconsin and Alabama. Luke Fickell, the head coach of Wisconsin, is going to be desperately fighting for his job. The Badgers, they struggled against Miami of Ohio. Miami does have a fairly veteran team, but nonetheless, they are a MAC team. And then they looked a lot better against Mid Tennessee State. But then they got to go to Tuscaloosa this weekend. Alabama did not look good at all week one. They looked a lot better against UL Monroe. Who knows what team we're gonna get? Wisconsin, they are gonna be fighting for their lives because that is exactly what the situation demands. And wow, there's a lot of traffic outside today. But the situation demands that Wisconsin fights for their life because should Wisconsin lose this game, it may very well spell the end for the Luke Fickell era. So, but I'm taking Alabama in that one. I don't trust Wisconsin. Then we have the 4:30 game on the CW network. South Florida, the best resume in college football right now. Going up against Miami, got the big emotional win over Notre Dame, trying to stake their claim as finally being back as the U. And this is all going down in Hard Rock. South Florida, 18.5-point underdogs. Carson Beck has looked good. A lot better than what I was expecting. We're getting the 2023 version of Carson Beck, not the 2024 version. But you're going to be asking Byron Brown to put on the Superman cape once again. If South Florida can win this game and pull off a third consecutive upset, then they're going to be the G5 team to go to the playoffs. And they may be undefeated in that process with wins over Florida, Miami, Boise. I mean, South Florida is the Cinderella of 2025 thus far. And if they are able to do the unthinkable, oh my God. And just for story purposes, for storytelling purposes, I'm going to go with South Florida with the upset. Give me the Bulls. Certainly, it's going to be one hell of a game. See how it all plays out. But I'm really, really pulling for South Florida. And then on Peacock, we have the Elko-led A&M Aggies against the Marcus Freeman-led Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I'm taking the Irish in this one. They're coming off a bye. They didn't play well in Hard Rock. The Irish 6.5-point favorite. CJ Carr, he played very well. He played very good in against Miami. You pit Miami and Notre Dame against each other 10 times. You're probably going to see a 5-5 game, a 5-5 series. Very close. A&M, they're frauds until proven otherwise. We've seen over the last number of years them getting the wins over the lower teams, and then you get put up against it, and then they begin to crumble. You look at what they did last year, and people can say, "Oh, that last year was last year." Still a reality. They started the season 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7-1, and then lost last 4 out of 5 games, with that lone win being against New Mexico State. They got waxed by South Carolina. They lost to Auburn in quadruple overtime. The Texas defense smothered A&M. And then USC outlasted them in Vegas Bowl. I mean, it's a show me game for A&M. But like I said, they are frauds until proven otherwise. And then we have the then we have LSU Florida. I've talked about it extensively. With Florida, this is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. There is a legitimate possibility that Florida ends the season 1-11. A very real possibility. At LSU, at Miami, Texas, at A&M, Mississippi State, Georgia, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. This has the opportunity to be a disastrous season. Billy Napier, his seat is the hottest in college football, and there is no debate on that. That seat is melting quickly. I mean, it is an absolute disaster possibility. Florida is going into one of the toughest places to play in all the world in Death Valley in Baton Rouge. And you not only have a good coach in Brian Kelly, you have a good quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier. The running game, not quite where it needs to be. You gotta... not quite where it needs to be. But... well... It's just not quite where it needs to be. And you would assume that the goal would be try to get the defense to back up and then be able to run the ball. So we'll see what happens. But I'm taking the Tigers over the Gators. Yes, the Gators 8.5 point dogs. I I don't know. I don't know because we have seen when teams that are actually good get embarrassed, like Florida did, they come back with a vengeance and do the unthinkable. And we could very well see that happen here, but I highly doubt it. Taking LSU, it is a rivalry game, so I would be very hesitant on the points. But it's at home. I'm taking the Tigers. I'll risk the point. And then we got. Uh, oh, that's about it. That's about all, folks. As far as the interesting games on this weekend. Taking a look, see if there's anything else in the dockets. Where is? Love me some Big Ten football. Love me some Big Ten football. See if there's any secretly good games. Well, I mean, Minnesota and Cal could be an interesting. I want to stay up that late to watch a couple of lower. It'd be an interesting game, but and USC Purdue. See what Purdue's got. That's all I can say about that. So, and so that is all I got for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from football to racing to true crime to news. You name it, we're doing it. We'll see you in the next one.